Rant of Whatever.
This is ROW. Welcome to Rant of Whatever. I'm your host, Kevin Yarrow. And on today's episode, we start a month-long series of spooky episodes where you're going to be hearing different stories from different people who I've interviewed and had send in audio of their stories, and my own stories of encounters and sightings of UFOs, ghosts, monsters, creatures. So far, as I'm recording this episode, I have ghosts and UFOs. I'm hoping to get some monsters and some creatures in soon. But anyways, we're gonna start with my own UFO sighting. And then afterwards, we're gonna have a listen to our good friend Keith Perry, who had his own UFO sighting. So, my own sighting started when I was 16 years old. I think it was 2003. If I think about it really, it might have been 2004. It was either 2003 or 2004. And I have a feeling that it was like I had either started school in grade 9 at Handsworth, which means I was already living in North Van, that's for sure. And so what I used to do is I used to get up in the mornings really early before school. I'm pretty sure I was already in school this time, which would mean that this happened in I think October? I think it was October or November of either 2003 and 2004. And I used to get up really early. I mean, I used to watch out the front window of our house in North Vancouver all the time. It faced north, and we had the perfect view between a line of trees and houses to see most of the front side of Grouse Mountain in North Vancouver. You could see a majority of the lift that takes people up the side of the mountain, and you could see a lot of the sky. Like, from where that house is situated, it had a perfect line of sight to the mountain. I mean, fucking perfect. And so I used to just watch all the time because I've always believed in UFOs, and I've always wanted to see them. So I'd always look out the front window of that house, hoping to see a UFO or something. And I always used to see lights over the mountain all the time. And I don't know what they are. I'm not gonna start claiming that they're extraterrestrial crafts, just the lights that I saw. I'm not sure. I don't know. When we get to the end of the story, I'll explain to you why. I'm not even sure if this particular UFO story that I'm telling you was an alien or not either, but we'll get there at the end. So yeah, I used to watch for UFOs all the time out this window, and I used to see them all the time. I don't know if they're alien crafts or not, but they're UFOs, unidentified flying objects. That's 100%. Excuse me while I take a drink of water. So this particular morning, gosh, it starts getting light out this particular time of the year. It's still dark by like 6 o'clock, and then 6:30, maybe even pushing 7, but it had to be earlier than that. It's probably closer to like 4, 5 in the morning. Honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised if this particular event happened in the Devil's Hour, the 3 a.m. range. But probably closer to the later end of that. But so this particular morning, I was looking up at the mountain, and there was a heavy number of UFOs up there. Again, I'm not certain them to be alien crafts. Probably some of them were like planes and helicopters, and probably satellites too, because it was dark out in that area of town. And I'm looking up at the mountain, and there are quite a number of lights just zipping over the mountain. And I happened to catch my sight on one particular satellite looking. Like, nowadays, if I were to have seen that light, I would have called it right away a satellite. It was bright, it was moving in a directly straight line, just like a satellite. Except this light, when it got directly into the middle of my vision, stopped underneath a really bright star. And that light went down into the tree line of the mountain. It didn't go behind the mountain. I saw it go into the tree line. You know, like, there's the difference between it going... If you're on YouTube, you can see me do this. If you're on the video or the audio, I'll try to explain the best I can. But, like, it didn't go behind the mountain, you know? It went into the trees in front of the mountain. You know what I mean? Maybe that's a terrible description with my fingers there on the video, but I hope you understand. And this really bright star that it stopped and went down under started flashing red right at that exact moment. And then all of a sudden I noticed a glow from above. So, like, excuse me. I'm sorry, I got dry mouth. So, the glow coming from above me, there's like the roof line of the house that come down, and you know, there's a point where the roof line blocks your vision of the rest of the sky, you know? And there was this purple glow coming from above where I couldn't see. And then it kept getting brighter and brighter and brighter. And then I started seeing these like balls of light. I don't know if a ball of light is the best description, but like a ball of light. I don't know how else to describe it, but like, this creature came from the sky, and it was like a jellyfish, but it was sort of like a triangle at the same time. So it was like a triangle shaped floating in the sky jellyfish that was completely translucent, was glowing this magnificent purple pinkish glow, and it seemed to have these sort of 3 balls on the bottom of the body of it that were emitting light. Like, not that they were balls, but they were like emitting light, so they looked, you know what I mean, like they looked brown. Like when you look at a light, it doesn't matter the shape of the light coming off of it is going to sort of look round. So I can't say they were balls, but they were definitely emitting a light source. And that was the bottom of the body of this creature. And it had sort of these, I don't want to call them antenna that come off the top, but a couple of tentacles, and there were tentacles underneath it that came off of the bottom of it and had these like balls at the bottom. Not balls, but like, that's where like light was emitting from heavily, like the bottom of these tentacles. And for years I struggled with how to describe this thing, and I can draw it actually. I can show you people on the video right now, and on the podcast I will actually leave a drawing as the picture of the podcast, like the podcast thumbnail. So if you're listening to the podcast on Spotify, Google, Apple, wherever you're listening to, the thumbnail of this podcast is my drawing of the UFO. It was sort of like I should do the drawing in purple because I've got a green pen here. It's not going to work. So I'm going to do it in black, but it was purple. A magnificent purple. You know, like how memories degrade after time? My memory of this color, it just has never degraded. It really hasn't. And this is a terrible drawing because I make it look like, I always thought that it was a UFO, like a craft. but I could never figure out why it was so small. And then I started listening to another podcast called Mysterious Universe. Amazing podcast, but they were talking about sky jellyfish one time, and my eyes opened up, and I was like, that's exactly what the fuck that was. And I'm sorry, I'm just finishing drawing right now. I haven't stopped talking or nothing. So it was something like this, you know? But it was now I think it was a living creature. And so it was coming from the sky and glowing this magnificent glow. And I think that it could sense me there all the time, you know? What I learned from looking up about sky jellyfish and the sightings that people have had about these creatures is that people think that they are real animals that live in our atmosphere that we have not been able to document yet. And once in a while, they come down. And some people think that they have telekinetically linked up to them in their mind and like communicated with them, not like speaking English to them, but communicated to them in some sense and had them come down and show themselves to them. And I think that's what I did that day, because there are groups that get together to hunt for UFOs, and they'll stare at the sky and just think, please, UFO, come down and show yourself to us. That's how you connect yourself to them. And by me going to the window time after time, multiple times a day, hours out of my day, looking up the sky, hoping to see a UFO, this creature sensed those thoughts, sensed me wanting to see something come from the sky, and decided to come down and show itself to me. And so this thing floated down into my view. It had to have been maybe 2 or 3 feet by 2 or 3 feet, like the body of it, 2 or 3 feet, maybe another 1.5 to 2 feet of tentacles. Was not very big at all, maybe even smaller than that. And we had these really thick curtains on the window at the time, and I slammed those curtains shut, and I could still see it was such a bright light. I could see the light coming through the curtains still, and I was so scared. And I ran to my brother's bedroom and I woke him up, and we ran back to the window. Couldn't have been a minute. Could not have been a full minute. Maybe 30 seconds. I had him out of bed and at that window. And it was gone. It was gone. And people have told me that I was dreaming. People have told me it was a hallucination. It wasn't. I know what I saw. It was a real physical thing. Yes, it was translucent. Not like a piece of paper, but like a jellyfish, you know? It was almost like it was bioluminescent, but not in an ocean way. Bioluminescent in some sort of in the sky atmosphere way that us humans haven't been able to catalog yet. That's what I believe. That's what I believe I saw. I saw that for a fact. I think I'm 100% that I saw a sky jellyfish. Well, that was my story. Next, we're going to have Keith Perry with his incredible UFO sighting.
It's kind of funny. My dad worked at this place in Ohio, and it was in Peebles, Ohio. Peebles is a really small fucking town. It's literally like if you're going from Cincinnati, which is in the southwest corner, like where San Diego is, and then you're going to Athens, which is in the southeast corner. So you just go right across the flat bottom part of Ohio, basically, and it's all just flat farmlands through like almost the whole drive. Cincinnati has like kind of hills, and then So does like the eastern border too. It's more mountainous over there. But like when you're driving across the middle of Ohio, it's just like fucking flat farmland, just like when you think of, I don't know, Iowa or Kansas and shit like that. So it's just one straight road. It's literally 2 lanes going this way, 2 lanes coming the other way, and you go for like, it's about 3.5 to 4 hours, depending on, you know, how fast you're going. One time I got there in only 2 hours and 45 minutes because I was in my car. It was a Taurus super high output, and I got it up to 145 miles an hour. As the fastest I ever got it going to. But
I love a Taurus, actually. Yeah, they're good cars.
It's awesome. My friends, when I was hunting for a car and that they saw me look at that, they're like, dude, you've got to get that car. Like, that is underrated. Like, people sleep on it. They have no idea how fast that shit is. And you just, like, you'll smoke people. And they weren't fine, dude. That car was fast as fuck.
Yep.
So, that's why I had to get rid of it, because I'm like, I'm going to kill myself driving way too fast. But, I don't remember. I think it was before I had that car. Oh, sorry, Pepper's. Pepper. Yeah, I know, you're tough. It was before I had that. I think I was driving my Explorer. That was my first car I had. And I was literally doing that drive from Cincinnati to Athens to go to Ohio University. So I had to have been in college. And my friend Nick Jackson was with me. So back to the thing is, my dad worked at this place called Peebles. And there's this whole rumor that it was almost like a Area 51 connected to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, and they had like alien UFOs and technology and shit at this little place, and it was by GE, General Electric, and it was the aircraft facility where they test engines. It was an engine testing facility. My dad used to build like the big ass Boeing 747 engines, and he actually took me there once when I was a kid. It was really cool. But he even wore like my brother was an alien for Halloween one year, and it was like one of those masks that you could pump it, and it had like the green alien blood would like come down the face and stuff.
That's cool.
Like an all black robe, and wore the alien thing to work one day when he had to work out there, and people were taking pictures of him and shit. It was pretty hilarious. Trolling the people. So from what I could tell, there was no actual alien shit there. My dad had no idea if there was. So he thought it was hilarious that people thought that they did. Coincidentally, I swear to God, I had to be within like 10 miles of this fucking town when I'm driving out to Ohio University. All of a sudden, there's a motherfucking triangle in the sky, and it. What?
Wait,
I think it was,
sorry, I'm gonna need you to repeat what you saw in the sky because your audio cut out right when you said that, like it was the government. Like, fuck that shit.
Well, you know, you never know. So it was the Black Triangle UFO. This is the one only UFO I've ever seen, and I think it had like it was weird colors. It wasn't like plain. It had 3 lights, and it was in a triangle, and I think it was like green and orange and purple or something like that. Like I remember them being bright colors, but they weren't. They were definitely not like, what are planes, like green and red and blue or something like that.
Red and green, and I think sometimes blue. Yeah.
Yeah, so it wasn't those colors. I remember that specifically. Like, whoa, what the fuck? And that was the first thing that caught our attention was that. And then basically it came in kind of fast. Like we saw it coming from like, I don't know, a little bit distance, and it came out. And then it was literally like pacing with our car. Like it stayed in front of us kind of, but it felt like it was moving with us because it was like in a good, like not too far away, and it was like kind of staying close to us. And enough time that I swear, I think I had my like old Nikon little point and shoot camera, and I had Nick record a video, and of course it looked like garbage, but we even got a quick video of this thing. And as soon as we start videoing it, and because first we see it, and we're like, what the fuck is that? And I'm like, dude, is that a UFO? Like, he's like, dude, what the fuck? He's like, I don't know, that's not a plane. We're like, we're seeing it, and then we film it. Like I said, I don't even know if I have that video anymore. I think it was on an old computer that I don't even have the files from. A laptop ended up getting stolen in college, and I think that's obviously what it was on. And it wasn't the FBI. It was a crackhead who sold it for crack. So
He works for NASA.
Yeah. And so yeah, man, we saw it, we filmed it, and then we watched it, and it took off a little bit away from us, and then it literally just boom, like fucking zoomed off, like real fast, fucking gone. And I know people have described like shit like that where UFOs will just be one place and then they just take off.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I saw, which was fucking crazy. And that's when I was like, oh yeah, dude, that was fucking UFO of some sort. Nothing I know can do that.
I saw something one time when I was living in Surrey, British Columbia, and I was walking to the bus stop, and it was during the winter, and it was probably like 5:30, and it was fucking pitch black out, right? And the stars were out because it was a really cold night. And there was this one star, and I happened to look down this street, which went towards the mountains, and there was this really bright star, and it went fucking boom, but it didn't just go this way, it went through, and then it shot down, and then it like zigzagged, and it was fucking gone, and it was the most bizarre fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. One of the most bizarre things.
Damn.
Planes don't act like that, you know? It's physically not possible.
Zigzag. Yeah, maneuver. Nope.
Yeah.
And that's what I was. The same thing with me. Like, I didn't know it would look like a triangle, which was weird as fuck to begin with. And this was kind of actually before I even knew about black triangle UFOs. Like, I was still under the assumption that everything's flying saucers and fucking circular little UFOs and green and all that. So that makes it even more like now that I've seen so much info and videos of the black triangle UFOs that I'm like, holy shit, dude. Like, I feel like I've actually seen one for real.
That's fucking nuts. And you know what? There's a lot of theories that the black triangles, the specific shape of the triangle, was actually re-engineered by the American government by some sort of downcraft that they re-engineered. So now when you see triangles, chances are that is human, but where did they get that design from, right? So there must have been something that came here with the triangle.
How does it float and move and steer? You know what I mean? Like, that's...
Exactly. Like, we've seen the triangles. They're the stealth bombers, you know, but they don't zigzag through the fucking sky like some reports, you know,
Yeah,
or take off
in one spot. Or in,
Yeah, like they fly in a fucking straight line and they can do some cool maneuvering, but they don't just like fucking boom in one direction, you know. It's not how they work. Not to my knowledge, and I'm not in the military, but who knows?
And again, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me too that it was the government using their UFO technology, because like I've told you before on the Earths Suckhole, I still feel like that could be a strong theory that the U.S. government's the one that's abducting people and drugging them, wearing costumes and making them think they're getting taken by aliens.
You know, I do think that sometimes that might be the case. I personally don't. I don't know. It's possible, but I do think some of them are aliens, but a lot of them are humans abducting our own people for whatever fucking reason. Maybe to take them to aliens. Who knows?
Ooh, could be.
Yeah, who knows?
That was Keith Perry, good friend of mine, and he's host over on our other show, the Earths Suckhole. I had him come on Rant of Whatever to tell his amazing UFO story, and that was amazing. So this is going to be an ongoing thing in October. We're going to be doing episodes just like this one, but with different people. I will be reading some stories. Some people sent me in some audio. I've interviewed some people the same way I have Keith here, and yeah. This is going to be a whole thing, and hopefully we'll do this next year as well. I don't really have a name for the month like I do for the videos that we call Scare Month. Maybe I could call this Scare Month as well. Oh, it's fucking stupid. Well, until next time, stay spooky scary.